Hello world, what a surprise. I cannot sleep. Cannot sleep because I'm homeless. For 525 days, now I'm in a home, but I am homeless. I cannot stay here all the time. This is really weird. I did do a documentary called Forever Westward, what I call a documentary, and this belongs in the set with all the videos of me at Union Station, talking about the relationship with my relationships. I'm gonna try to do it all in one take so I can play back and just get up online. So when it's up there, it's up there. And then I'm just having so many thoughts about the afterlife and already being dead because I feel it coming. And it's very important for you to know, I am not at all suicidal. I love life, want to keep living. I've been there, that place before, but I'm not there now. Why do I feel I'm about to die? Well, it's just the odds. I have defied the odds so many times. And just not even 48 hours ago, I was walking down a 4-lane highway in the ice and snow because I had to get my driver's license back because someone messed up with the voucher. And I believe in driving. And that was where the first appointment was. And I had to go. It's just, nobody out there really is going to do anything, I don't think, to help save my life. So I'm just going to die. But before I die, I want to talk about Mom and Dad and Erica. I don't know why, it's just these three things just kind of came up. And they're a little different, but I wanted to talk about. So let's just get into it. So Mom, and when did she stop believing in me? And when I say stop believing in me, I mean like believed in me the way Granny did. The way Granny did till the day she died. Mom stopped believing in me really, really quickly after she got divorced, or started the divorce, in 97. I would have been 10 years old. Mom stopped believing in me at 10 years old. She stopped believing in her husband, probably that spring. And that summer, we separated. By late summer, Mom found me in a gay chat room. That's when Mom stopped believing in me, and she's never believed in me before. Again, like that since. I know this. No, it's true. There was pockets where Mom did believe in me a little bit. Like the best example would have been when in 2007, in December, when she took me to the airport, and she was very happy I was going on a study abroad trip. But by February, I was already back in the United States, and I had been laid off for the first time. I've been laid off 10 times. It's a contributing factor to being homeless. So you need a good economy. You need to actually get a track record. You can be successful, but if the economy's not doing well, and you're gay, your parents got divorced, it just becomes game over. So anyway, I wanted to talk about when I went on that trip. She loved that I was going on that trip, but then when it was over, I got laid off. And for the restaurant, there was an embezzlement scheme. I wasn't even there. And so I said, Mom, I need some help. You know, I don't have any money. And she said, you can take your ass down to the welfare office. And she hung up. And so that was Mom then, 2007. By 2009, Mom was so far gone by that point. She came to my college graduation late, and on purpose, she came late. So, you know, it was just 3 years later. Oh, I want to mention this too. So I'm actually lucky that I haven't defeated homelessness already, like 3 or 4 times. There's actually been, I was thinking about this earlier tonight. There's been in my life 2 other times I was extremely likely to have been homeless, but I did defeat it, or it was extremely close. So those times would have been, in 2009, I broke up with Stevie, and I did go back to see Mom. Actually, I broke up with Stevie, went back to Mom's, then I went back to Steven's, and then me and Steven split permanently, and went back to Mom's, and I wrote out late fall, and then winter, and then I got my job in Raleigh. But that time was awful. Mom was not very motherly. It was a very hard time. What kind of kept us together, I think Steve had his open heart bypass. So Mom was kind of distracted with, like, maybe her husband was going to die. But she was very hateful to me. It was very awful. It was not a good time. And then, just 2.5 years later, my mom tries to kill me with ICU crash cart meds. So she definitely didn't believe in very much or any of the right things. And then she just went to Saudi Arabia and got divorced and remarried again. Steve kept on living. Hey, Steve, you can help me with a cell phone, but, you've had like every new model there ever has been for 25 years. You could just help me with a cell phone right now. But anyway, so mom stopped believing in me at 10 years old, and she never believed in me again. She did believe in me having a purpose, like you need to make lots of money and be there to support Drew. That was the only, she never explicitly said that, but I know that's the only belief she ever had in me after 1997 to this day. Beyond taking me to the airport that one day, I can't really think of any other times. I will say this, 22 years ago, and taking me to the airport, 2 different occasions. 22 years ago, which would have been, 2002? Mom turned 40. So it was Granny was at our house, and me and Granny and Drew said this, Lordy, Lordy, look who's 40. We said that so many times, and I think my mom even said it. That was one of the best, very last, best days me and mom ever had. That was 22 years ago. I'm 36, about to die. I know it. Man, somebody out there could just help, but this will about now be the 12th time I have said in 7 days, if you can help get me into a better situation than what I've already put myself in, let's go, like WVU. Let's go. Let's go right now. But, just going to watch this video, and then I'm going to die. So, I hope that's not the case. I really have to hope that, but I expect I cannot keep defying the 16 times higher likelihood of death. I can't do it. I can't do it if I want to. Okay? It's just I'm going to try not to. But I know, mathematically, just the risk and the constant, unprevailing danger of being homeless all the time. You just don't get it. You will not get it until I die. And you'll be like, oh no, we should have helped him. I know. Mom quit believing in me. And then with Dad, so you have to understand, my parents divorced in 98. And so when you think if your parents were together, you probably just kind of think of mom and dad as one item. It's just they're right beside each other. That's the way it should be. But for me, nope, not the same. I have mom and dad together in my head for 10 years. First 10 years of my life. My brother has no recollection of this whatsoever. My brother has a really strange memory because it doesn't kick in for him until about 9/11. He would have been 11 years old. So, Drew's 3 years younger than me. I remember the day Drew was born. I remember when my mom was pregnant with him. Drew doesn't remember anything until 9/11. But he can't really remember the first 2 houses we were in. So weird. Because I do. I remember 100 memories with Drew in 2 houses. Or more. Probably more than that. With Dad, though, so, mom and Dad, after 98, they're never in the same room again. There was one time in 2017 when they had, I guess around 2017, they really did kind of more or less, mom was already remarried again. So Steve was gone. And it was the weird new husband that we still don't know anything about because he's a foreigner. Doesn't know who Abraham Lincoln is. So weird. But true. There was a time she had to come up to West Virginia to sign some papers or whatever, and she did have, she spent the night at my dad's house, but we went up the next night, we saw Drew and his girlfriend Rachel, and mom called me a faggot just before we were supposed to take a picture. All 4 of us, to Drew, this is a huge deal, because Drew hadn't seen the picture I showed him already of, all 4 of us in 1992. So Drew was really angry at me, but my mom did it just to see how I would react if I would go through with the picture of her calling me a faggot about 5 minutes before that. I did not go through the picture. It doesn't exist. It never happened because she did that, because that is what is more important. It would have been so wrong to be smiling and have a picture of all 4 of us in 2017 And that's the memory attached to that picture. It's just better the picture doesn't exist. So, but with Dad, so Mom and Dad did kind of get a little better 20 years later after their divorce, but, you know, they ain't saving me. This should be the most important thing on their list of things to do. They're still messed up. But there was a time we had dinner in 2017. One time, as they were divorced. But for Dad, it's just the history of the two. Mom is in a different place because in 2012, she's the reason I moved to West Virginia. I survived that for 8 years in the poorest rural county in the United States. Then I got promoted one year, one day to come out here to dish, right for a pandemic, yada yada. But with Mom has a history that was more or less over around 2012. That's the last big thing that happens with Mom. I go see her in 2015. She gets remarried. We meet our stepdad, Richard, in Mount Airy. And it's peculiar that Mom has like a way of like introducing our stepdads to us in our hometown. You know, all these years went by. We had not been in Mount Airy together forever. But Mom, like, she's, I don't know. But the history with Dad is much more recent. History with Dad kind of picks up where Mom left off in 2012. My mom tried to kill me with ICU crash cart meds. And for that reason, I went to the safest place, which was for her Krypton. It was with Dad. So I'll go to Dad's in 2012. Me and Dad have this more or less better history until 2016, when Dad decides, if Michael's doing crack and stealing money, I'll just make Nathan homeless. That'll make sense. Exactly what he did. He expelled me from his home, took my phone to get the F out on Thanksgiving night. And it was hard. That was when I became leader of the family. I know. It was that night. And he gave up the throne. You make a child homeless, you ain't never gonna be the leader of anything ever again. And when you start sleeping with a 7-year-old boy, it's just never gonna get any better. Because my dad's doing that. Anyway, with Dad, when did Dad stop believing in me? That's really the question I want to answer. Dad really never fully accepted that I was gay, I don't think. I think he always kind of felt like, maybe it'll change. Like, I don't know. We worked professionally together, and we had more of an adult relationship. More so, so many years have passed since 98. And I know that he definitely missed that time before 98, because he told me that in 2022, right before I went to go live with him, and find out he was sleeping with 7-year-old boys. So I came back to Colorado, continued being homeless for everybody's best personal safety. And the quicker everybody learns that and says, you know what, Nathan's right, we should help him, that would be great, but I'm probably going to die, because nobody actually cares enough to see a 40-year-old Nate. I'm 36. But we can all care about the boomers in their 60s, but we can't care about Nate. Just cannot do it, can you, boomers? Cannot do it enough to save my life. And I know that. Dad stopped believing in me, I'm going to say, in 2019. And he stopped believing in me in a different way. Dad stopped believing in me because he stopped believing. I think that he should have even been alive, because in 2019, we were at Kroger, and his heart was going like that. I'm going to tell you the full story on that one right now. So I have said many times what collapsed at Kroger, what should have died at Kroger, or what. Dad never had some sort of where he went unconscious at Kroger. He never did that. His heart was going like thumper. And what happened exactly after that was we abandoned the grocery store trip, and we went to Welch Hospital. And at the time, me and Mom had already planned to see each other, which was a rare occasion. We had planned to already meet in Atlanta. And my dad told me at Welch Hospital, he was like, he believed in us going to see this trip. He still believed in me then at that moment. My dad, like Granny did. My dad said, you need to go see your mom now more than ever. If I don't make it through this surgery, I think he already kind of knew. he was going to have the quadruple open heart bypass, which was going to be surgery of some type, a major one. So by the time we got to the hospital, we already knew he was going to be like that. So Dad actually never went unconscious in 2019 when I was with him. I don't know exactly what happened after that. I just know that I came back from Atlanta and he was at home. That's how my memory of it is. But Dad stopped believing in me because I think he stopped believing in all things. And if you go back to 2023, last year, it's February 2024 right now, we are in the year anniversary of me going back to West Virginia and finding out my dad's sleeping with a 7-year-old boy and doesn't have a bank account, is not talking to any adults, only this kid and me, barely talking to his brother, and never was wanting to talk to his brother. Like, Uncle Mike and I never got to make peace, say goodbye to each other. Dad didn't believe in it. Dad didn't believe in anything Michael had to tell me, which was probably everything I already knew about him sleeping with a 7-year-old boy. It was just so stupid. But I think Dad quit believing in me in 2019. He had the election in 2018. Is that right? I think all that's right. He's still running for the... It was late 2018. I can't remember the exact dates, but it was somewhere in 2019. Dad, it's when he starts taking all these weird selfies. Pictures of the arm, and that real awful one, the black and white picture. I'm not going to put all these pictures up. Could do it, but some people on Facebook know what I'm talking about. 2019, my dad starts just not being himself because he has to tame them. I don't think we know what we're doing. When we keep people alive, we technically keep them alive, but they don't seem to be who they used to be at all. Even though he may be homeless already, Dad still believed in me. I think that was a very knee-jerk reaction, but it still demonstrated he did not know the difference between right and wrong. He was already, Dad did though have the upper hand as far as like morality, faith in God, things that really matter. He still did. So when Mom was going to Saudi Arabia, me and Dad were praying for her. We were praying for her a whole lot. We were just hoping she'd be all right. And we had a lot of time passes that divorce and all that tension and all that. But Dad, in 2019-ish, he did believe in me almost on a level kind of like I think Mom did, with you need to be successful and make lots of money. And I think he did believe in me a whole lot through most of that year. And as my promotion and everything became more likely, it was going into that level. I just remember when I say my dad doesn't believe in me, it's kind of like when I left for Denver, my dad was already in a very much like relieved that I was leaving, but didn't really miss that I was going. And I remember like pulling out the driveway and honking the horn. And I remember when he came to see me in Kansas when he switched vehicles, he wasn't, I don't think Dad's belief in me was as much a purposeful, driven, I'm not going to believe my son anymore kind of thing. I think for Dad, it was a much harder thing to do. But it was also like he couldn't control it because he knew he wasn't real. And I feel that part of him, I mourn, I cry, I think about. I have so many thoughts about my dad. Mom, you got to remember, I'm about to die. Nobody out there cares. So I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Mom, when Dad had his open heart surgery, we and Mom were in Atlanta, and she was one of the last people he talked to, and she gave him that big pep talk about, you're going to have a heart 20-year-old, you're going to be fine. She gave him that whole spiel. I was already there for it. She hung that phone up. It wasn't 2 seconds later. She said, he'll never be the same again. Pretty much with that kind of talk. And it was just like, oh, Mom already knew. Mom already been a nurse. She'd already kind of seen. She kind of knew, Frankenstein's on the way. She kind of knew that. So, I, however, didn't know that. She could have been a little bit more bedside mannerish with me. But it's my mom, so she's special. Dad never, I think Dad loved me as much as he could. I think Mom had other things that prohibited her from loving me the way she was supposed to. And I still, to this day, have more of a belief. I believe in Mom. My mom has short-term memory. Cannot remember my middle name or 9/11 or anything at all, it seems. But I still believe that Mom could snap out of it. Now, what would cause her to snap out of it? I don't know. You know, maybe Drew having a baby, actually having one or something. I don't know. But I feel like Mom has a chance for her eternal salvation and everything to be on a path and loving me and all those kind of things. I still fully believe in her future. Dad, though, I can't. I just can't for what I know, what I've seen, what he's treated me. And you have to understand, like, I'm ready to forgive my mother. It's February 2024. Since July 2023, I have been ready to forgive my mother for trying to kill me. Okay? And it's a hard thing. It's hard for anybody to understand. I actually went to the hospital. There's a toxicology report. She got fired. It's all... I know. I know what really happened. And I'm ready to forgive her for it. Because here's kind of like where I want to say. With Mom, she tried to kill me. She literally did. I was supposed to die in the afternoon while they were at work. And I didn't. I went to go see my dad instead. That was one of the times I evaded homelessness. The other time I want to talk about was when I left Stevens and was back at Mom's. If it wasn't for Mom and Dad them 2 times, I probably would have been homeless. Probably, absolutely. There was nowhere else I could have gone. And so it's just like, well, yeah, I'm a grown man and everything. But they did get divorced twice. And I just ain't right. So, plus we had the worst recession of 100 years. And then we had COVID. So the boomers need to just understand, millennials have survived enough that we need a little help. But I'll probably be dead and you would never find me. My family absolutely will not care about me more in death than they did in life. And this is why I think part of it propels me to want to be able to forgive Mom more. Or forgive her all. And why I can't forgive Dad. Well, first of all, it's still going on. You know, I really look at like, Dad was the parent I left to go here for promotion. And he did seem to be much more in a just get out of here kind of frame of mind. He was happy for me, but he just didn't seem... it just seemed like he was just kind of over the whole concept of Nathan in 2019. And the 2020 comes around, and we're working remotely. We are successful with his business, but our personal relationship just seemed to really take a tumble. And it was the Donald Trump and losing the election. And that is when it was like the writing on the wall for me. Dad does not believe in me. He doesn't believe in his country. He doesn't believe in himself. He doesn't believe in anything except, why the hell am I here? That was kind of what it was. And then it goes to January 6th. And that's when, about 2 years later, when I'm in the grocery store. And I have a big ball and meltdown. And I remember this lady from like New Mexico. She gives me like $3. And she sees that I'm crying. I'm at like where the Starbucks is, you know. And she's like, you need your sandwich or something. She's just a stranger giving me comfort and hope. And that's when I believe in America. Well, I always do. Always have. But it was just like, I'm glad that she understands. I'm crying about January 6th. I'm crying about the fact my dad, whatever 1% remaining of the real him, never came back from that day. So that's how we get to where he's sleeping with a 7-year-old boy. And perpetually letting me die. That is the thing you have to understand. Mom never helped me when I was homeless before in 2016. And she was a lot more with it. And then, you know, her memory problems hadn't seemed to start yet. She was going to a new country every half hour. But Dad Never forgave him for that, making me homeless in 2016. We did work together because I allowed it to, and that's what everybody needs to keep hearing. We are only successful when Nathan is a part of the success in this family. Since 1991, it's always been the case. Right now, while I'm homeless, is the only time nobody is making money on the Acostas. You just have to think about that. You think about the fact that if my Aunt Manny cares, I really need to see that she does. And I need to think something else besides she's holding on to pictures that were supposed to be lost in a rainstorm in like 1990, 91. I don't believe that. I believe she's holding on until the New York Times calls and wants to make a deal. I hope I'm wrong, but like I said, I hope that she shows me that she cares. But now I just want to switch. I want to talk about a whole different topic. It's mom and dad. I was also thinking about Erica. Erica is somebody that I'll tag on Facebook, but I'm going to say her name in the video, her full name. Erica and I worked together in 2008 and 2009 at Olive Garden. And she was one of the first people that was very much supportive of me surviving in general and being homeless. She wasn't supporting of that, but when I became homeless, I went to Elon University. Before I did, I was in Burlington, so I had this kind of like rich homeless. I had a hotel room, and I had money for an appetizer. I remember being at Applebee's and talking to Erica. This is like my third week homeless. And I was staying in Burlington because I thought Elon University, I definitely had belief that they were going to do something besides just kick me out because my father went to January 6th. And I remember talking to Erica, and I don't remember specifically. I could probably look it up and go back in our chats and find it. But I remember having some dialogue with her about, I'm homeless. I'm going to Elon. I hope that they help. But what if they don't? Can you help me? And some way. And like, I don't remember how that really went, but I do remember that Erica was one of the first people. She would send me like $10 or $15 a week. And she stopped doing that. She stopped doing that, and I understand kind of why. Because Erica was somebody that I disclosed some deep, dark fears to, like last fall. So Erica was with me when I went to the hospital after I got robbed from being at work, and then the homeless shelter robbed me of all my personal property I had there, and then discarded it, and then later would say, it was our bad, we shouldn't have done that. You were actually here for bad checks. Because it was. But that day when I had robbed everything except my phone charger, shorts and shirts and flip-flops, that's all I had in the world. I had a meltdown. I went to the hospital for suicide, and they didn't believe in it. So it's 3 security guards, and they sent me to Starbucks because I wouldn't get on a bus. I was like, why am I getting on this bus? This phone's not charged. I'm not getting on a bus when I should be in the hospital. So we went to Starbucks. So Erica remembers Starbucks Day, but she doesn't remember after that. Erica doesn't believe in me anymore because I remember telling Erica, some fears I think have passed. I think I have done a good job on these things. I haven't really came to the surface again very much. Really, they haven't, and I hope that they never do. But fears about what if I'm the shooter at West Virginia University in the future, because it could be. It could help. And you never made my dad very whole. We would all have been better off had my dad passed away at Kroger or never made it out of surgery alive, technically alive. Whatever you call someone who's suddenly sleeping with a 7-year-old boy and letting their son die. See, that's the thing. How in this video, Mom never helped, but she did try to kill me, and she tried to kill me, with medication while in the ICU. That's why she was fired for stealing it. And it was going to be more of a quicker death, Dad, on the other hand, is so far gone and so comfortable or uncomfortable, or whatever it is. He is so ready to find out I got killed walking down a 4-lane highway or whatever. You know, Dad is so comfortable. I hope Nathan dies. That is pretty much the feeling I get from him. So it's just, with Mom, she can laugh at me for still being homeless on Thanksgiving, which she did. But I think Mom has more of a resolve to change. I do not think there is going to be anything but good ever come out of my dad again, which is why we need to care whether I'm alive when you watch this video or not. Where's Tom Acosta? Where's that 7-year-old boy? Where are all the kids? Where's Tom Acosta? We do. Thank you for watching. It's been great. I'm going to put this on, add this to my playlist for my Forever Westward documentary. I go into a whole bunch of relationships with my relationships. Last thing I'll just say is, Erica, if you watch this, I miss you. You know, I don't have those thoughts a lot. But Erica wanted me to go back to the hospital when I was having them thoughts, and I already was at the hospital again after the suicide, and they discharged me to the homeless shelter administration building, where I didn't think I had any business. And I asked them at the administration building, do I have any business here? And they were like, nope, you got to go survive somewhere else. And then I spent 6 hours on a bicycle to go find somewhere to sleep at night. So it's just, I just need some help. But like, just going to the hospital, I ain't ready to go. There's nothing wrong with me enough to be at the hospital. They can't help me find housing. It's just, you have to understand, I do 525 days homeless so well. Literally, it's what it is. I do it so well that I don't qualify for anything that you think I should be in. I can't. I'm not disabled. I haven't lost an arm yet. It's kind of like where we're at. But for everybody, I think we should agree, you know, why don't we just get hit by a back truck and just lose everything? So I'm going to make one addition here to the video. I have to make a whole thing for this to edit it and compile the 2 sequences. So I do want to say, I said, you know, I don't think there'll be anything good out of my dad ever again. That's true. However, my dad's legacy or a rebirth of my dad, yeah, I've already thought through that. And I'll give you 2 examples. 1, 2, 3. Uncle Mike's painting. My brother Michael could be unlocking doors for state of West Virginia, all 4 Costa sons, and the victims of the Upper Big Branch mine disaster, absolutely. That painting should be helping me right now. Senator Manchin, I need to believe in you. Like I've never believed in you before. But it's you. So, it's up to you. And that painting, absolutely, is you can paint that less than 24 hours. That nobody paints like that. You know, strength and conviction. And will of God himself. It's a beautiful painting. Anyway, that one. The next one would be the picture of me where I'm holding my dad's blanket in that cabin. My mom gave him that blanket when she was about 19 years old. And my dad, it was important to him to have that blanket in this weird cabin. But my quilt was never found in West Virginia in 2023. I found a lot of dark secrets. I did not find stuff I love, like that blanket. But that picture of me holding that blanket would be good on 5th Avenue as some sort of art collection, maybe curated by me, if I survive, but I don't think I will, against my odds, even though I want to. But something like that, I could see Dad having a rebirth, and probably even the best way ever, besides Uncle Mike's painting, would be if there was a race in Mount Airy. If there was a day in the newspaper, you saw my brother, and you saw me, and probably right behind me was Sarah Stevens, the divorce attorney, who's been represented for over 16 years, who's got a big old butt, and should definitely be exercising. But if you could see us, and we're wearing t-shirts that say something like what Dad used to say, what's right doesn't change, then Dad's got you know, a shot at a second life in the afterlife in a way. But, that was what I want to say. That was what I wanted to say.